So, for some time now, I've been calling Grim Hex home. It's been a week since my last crime stat, as I turned my verse life around, but even as one of the good guys, staying close to the criminals is useful if you're bounty hunting, and in a weird way, over time, this dark and damaged environment starts to feel more welcoming. And while we were now in 3.14, I have been staying here since my time in 3.13, and one such day we will be joining shortly to talk about my favourite combat ship in Star Citizen. Now, that is not to say I think it is the best combat ship, indeed I know it is not, but it is my favourite. I can't put my finger on why I love certain ships, but the heart wants what it wants, and I was extremely fortunate to be gifted this ship by a very good friend and fellow skunk Mercutio. I think he expected me to melt it for the credit, but this is a ship I could never let go of. Introducing the Anvil Hawk. I first spotted this on display in Astro Armada, and its odd folded up shape immediately caught my attention. A light fighter with no missiles but 6 hardpoints, and just like the Sentinel, an EMP. A unique and appealing design with a very Anvil cockpit. I was very excited to fire up the engines and take it out for some hunting in the rings of Yala. So it was those heady days of 3.13, and I was on my first hunt in the Hawk, stock loadout. I immediately loved the handling. The aiming is still not as fluid and free as full flight assist off in Elite, but the ship's thruster response allows for really familiar orbiting techniques. Feathering the thrusters and applying roll to constantly avoid fire felt immediately familiar. And while this weapon loader isn't something I would keep, it felt satisfying to fire off 6 weapons from such a tiny ship. In the last video I received a lot of really great advice from you guys about when the EMP is actually useful, specifically after shields are down. I didn't know this back then and so would use the EMP on shields incorrectly very often. This is a learning process after all, and well, thanks to you guys I now know better. You'll be seeing a lot of that in this video though. Unlike the Sentinel though, the Hawk's EMP has an incredibly satisfying sound and feedback associated to it. It actually felt really great to use it and to hear that sound every time. Now, not every fight is a win or leaves you completely unscathed, and on this first day there would be a few encounters where I bit off more than I could chew, but the Hawk also seems to shed parts of itself rather than just outright exploding, like my experiences with the Super Hornet at the time. You can limp home in some god-awful states, but alive, and I like that about it a lot. Fixed up, I had travelled to Lorville on Hurston to do some shopping for weapons. I had an idea about a loadout I wanted to try, and there was only one place to buy these particular weapons, Hurston Dynamics in the business district of Lorville. I met up with Mercutio at the spaceport and we travelled to the district by train, located at the base of the monolithic Hurston Tower that overlooks Lorville. So, Hurston Dynamics, scatterguns and attrition. They're not shy about using a bit of gold, are they? The Hurston family. Look at the size of that attrition. That is some crazy. That is crazy, isn't it?
Over this direction.
Okay, got myself a whole ton of Hurston Dynamics weapons now. Crucially, a bunch of scatterguns. So here I was fitting all 6 hardpoints with dominant laser scatterguns. This was before capacitors were a thing, which we'll get to soon, so rate of fire could be really high and heat was the only concern. My thinking was that as an AX pilot in Elite, I am extremely familiar with keeping a close orbit of a target, and scatterguns do a lot of damage for their size. It was the birth of my ScatterHawk.
Landing gear raised.
I would be a little conservative on the first target, as I found my rhythm with the scatterguns. They are strictly semi-automatic, so trigger pulls are needed for every shot, unlike repeaters or cannons. But on the second target, I felt a rhythm coming together.
Warning, engines overheating. Shields hit. Warning, engines overheating. Check fire.
Later, I would head out to answer some distress calls too. I found that this weapon loadout worked extremely well against medium and large ships. Against fast moving small ships, it did take longer though to get into range and hold the target near, but I was prepared to accept that compromise.
Target destroyed.
I would soon attempt to take down an ERT in the Hawk, and there were comments in the last video asking why I drew the support ships away to fight them separately in the Sentinel. You are about to see why ignoring them can be a costly mistake. I went straight in on the offensive against the Hammerhead itself, but it wasn't long before its wingmates had a bead on me. Once my shield was down, the damage really started to rack up.
Warning, shields overheating. Warning, engines overheating. Shields full. Shield down. Shields charging. Shields full. Shield down.
I noticed that most of my weapons had by now been blown clean off the ship. I had to retreat. I had gone in overconfident and had paid the price for it. Lesson learned. Always deal with the support ships first. But I would return following repairs, and this time I was ready to face off against the supporting vessels, though to my surprise, they were no longer escorting the Hammerhead target. I was still not sure the scatterguns would be able to overcome the Hammerhead, but I was ready to give it a shot. Also, Mark had by now joined me in the voice channel, though not in game, and was giving a kind of history of the Hammerhead.
Falling through the walls, but otherwise Hammerhead's its original in-game design. But it also came along much later, you know. Just like the Cutlass, the Freelancer, Retaliator, Gladiator, those Super Hornets, Vanguards, those were all around since just the hangars. Judge hasn't answered, so I guess he's not around right now. You clicking a pen?
Hang on, no, it's my stick, it's my gun firing. Hang on, give me a sec.
Oh.
Shields hit.
Yeah, yes! Yes! Took down the goddamn Hammerhead with the hook.
Really?
Yeah, yeah! I took down the goddamn Hammerhead with the hook. Oh my god.
You recorded it?
Yeah, of course I recorded it, yeah.
Okay.
You know? So basically, yeah, there was 2 EMPs, but I was like just orbiting super close with these scatterguns. And that's why you could hear all the clicking, was me just going nuts with the scatterguns. And yeah, EMP'd it, kept working the shield, EMP'd again, made a hole in the shield, and then these scatterguns, like there's so many scatterguns when you're close like that, and once there's a hole in the shield, oh my god, they just annihilate. That feels good. This ship is great, you know?
That's cool.
And having taken down the first of a handful of Hammerheads, we move into 3.14, the Common Era. And so far it has been marked by sporadic but regular conflicts with the Ninetales criminal organisation as they blockade Lagrange Point stations around Stanton. And with everybody on high alert, I would find myself embroiled in one such conflict very quickly.
Emergency stop.
You have entered a high-threat area. Hostile elements have disabled quantum travel in this sector. All pilots are encouraged to seek alternate routes.
Will be joining us. We need all the help we can get. I'm Commander Hurston, Crusader Security, and I'll be overseeing this op.
I was joining up with a substantial friendly force, including everything from Hammerheads to Mustangs, to head out and break the Ninetales blockade. But how would the changes to ship handling and power management affect the ScatterHawk in this new era? It was time to find out.
Warning. Weapons system overheating.
The limit on energy weapons lowers the rate of fire considerably, yes, but not too far to keep it effective. I actually like the changes here as it adds a greater level of challenge. And handling wise, there is certainly more inertia to contend with, but overall it was still feeling workable.
Warning, weapons system overheating.
Scans are done. Fall back and protect them until they're clear.
Bogey.
Pending the location of our next scan.
Fire.
Break off engagement and head there now.
The strategy I was using was to focus fire on only the back segment of the Hammerhead. The rear shields seem to fall faster. This is purely anecdotal observation, but it feels that way. Then I just orbit and direct my hits to the exposed segment of hull. It takes longer, but I feel that this is appropriate given the size difference in these ships, and AX pilots from Elite are used to extremely long fights. Of course, the changes cut both ways, and the Hammerhead turrets now have a hell of a lot of bite. Again, I like this. The challenge of avoiding fire is more meaningful, and the consequences are much higher. It was time to call upon the Skunks though, to head out in force and bring down the Ninetails.
Okay, that was rad as hell. Anyway, I'm gonna start shooting shit.
And it didn't do much damage to him, but you know.
Hey, but it looked incredible.
Like, section, but aside from that, I can take pretty much anything.
More Hammerheads just dropped.
Warning, weapons system overheating. Warning, weapons system.
Yeah, there we go. Let's Hammerhead down.
Lucky for you, burning things.
Yes we are.
Next customer.
Okay, next Hammerhead.
Better idea. I'm decoupling it and then slowly accelerating. She literally threw my Hammerhead against
Oh, good listen to the Hammerhead. Not my one though, but someone else's.
Like I it's like more like, oh, something's wrong with the ship, and I'm like, well, there's your problem.
Oh dear. Yeah, you're a kid. Yeah, I'm scared. I'm trying not to fly up over her because I'll probably smash it.
Warning, weapons system overheating.
Drop it down my way. Yeah, him coming. Oh,
Yep.
no. I got that. I heard that.
Yeah, there we go. Oh, it's gone. We'd held a very successful defense of the station, and as a group had taken down many Hammerheads. Now I wanted to try it solo again. It was doable in 3.13, yes, but in 3.14 I just wasn't sure. And as a result of the changes, I also was not yet fully confident that laser scatterguns would get the job done, so I would swap out for ballistic scatterguns. These are not hindered by the power capacitor, but have limited ammo. They do more damage, as I understand it, and having learned my lessons from before, I would lead the support ships away from the much slower Hammerhead and take them out first.
Warning, weapons system overheating. Warning, weapons system overheating.
After the support ships though, I would need to rearm. It would take all the ammo I could carry to get this done, I thought. And now it was time to face down the Hammerhead once again.
Warning, weapons system overheating.
The Hawk is a great little ship. Simple but effective and very cool to look at. Is it even close to the best combat ship? No, probably not, but I don't need it to be. I just like it. The handling feels really close to that of ships I loved in Elite Dangerous, while decoupled. And now that you guys have explained to me how and when to use the EMP, I can see myself having a lot of success with this ship. I didn't mention this earlier, but it even has a bed, of sorts. There is a prisoner pod on the back of the hull that can be used as a bed if needed. The Cutlass is still my favourite all-round ship, but I have certainly found my choice of combat ship now too. And I have lifetime insurance. Again, thank you Marcusio, you're amazing. I would like to thank all of you for watching. I look forward to any advice or guidance you want to share in the comments below. I would also like to send out a few very special thank yous this episode. Nikolai Lind has joined us over on Patreon, and I want to thank you for your support in helping keep this series going. I received a very generous gift from We Are Venom, the purple version of the Hello Kitty armour. I will be sure to show this off in an upcoming video for sure. And a huge thank you to Phoenix83, who offered to send me a Cutlass paint scheme with purple in it, knowing that I have a particular love of the colour purple. But when I accepted the offer, I didn't know that in order to gift that to me, he would have to gift me an entire special edition ship. The 2949 Cutlass Best in Show edition, we can see on the screen now. Absolutely incredible generosity there from Phoenix, and I want to thank you very much. As you can see, the purple in there really does match my armour, and also we noted that the white kind of looks like a skunk stripe too. Again, Phoenix, you are awesome, thank you so much. We'll be back with another video in a week guys, but until then, fly safe out there.